Now let's get into our discussion tonight on Politics HQ. The Supreme Court of Nigeria today dismissed the appeal filed by the candidate of the All Progressives Congress in the Rivers State governorship election 2023, Tonye Cole, which challenged the victory of Governor Sim Fubara in the March 18, 2023 governorship election in Rivers State. Well, Cole contested the election conducted by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, against Fubara, who emerged victorious with 302,614 votes. Excuse me, while Cole gathered 95,274 votes. Now, Cole's primary argument from the tribunal stage up to the Supreme Court was that Sim Fubara, who's now governor, did not properly resign his position as the Accountant General of Rivers State before becoming the flag bearer of the People's Democratic Party. And he continued to sign official government documents in this capacity. Now, both the Election Tribunal and the Court of Appeal had previously dismissed these claims for lack of merit. Now, what did the Supreme Court say? Justice, Honorable Justice Ibrahim Saulawa, delivering the final judgment, declared that Tonye Cole, in their view, failed to provide sufficient evidence to substantiate his allegations of Fubara's non-compliance with the Electoral Act and the fact that he had not properly resigned his role in government. The Supreme Court's decision comes amidst an ongoing political upheaval in Rivers State, as we have been discussing over the past few weeks, which is primarily rooted in the rift between Governor Fubara and his former boss, former governor of Rivers State, who is currently the minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. The tension escalated, as we all know, when some members of the Rivers State House of Assembly initiated the impeachment proceedings against Fubara. They said they were concerned about his conduct. Fubara's resistance to the impeachment triggered a series of protests and court cases in the state. The last time I counted as 5 court cases, culminating in the attack and subsequent demolition of the State House of Assembly complex. Well, President Tinubu's intervention led to an 8-point agreement or directive aimed at resolving the conflict between the governor and the minister. What does this judgment by the Supreme Court mean for Rivers State? Legal practitioner Evans Ufeli joins us again tonight to discuss this. Evans, it's good to have you again. We're talking about Rivers State again. Another day, another drama, if you want to call it that. It's good to have you. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening.
What's your take on the Supreme Court's reasoning? And again, we've seen similar cases go before the courts through the different stages of appeal. This is another one. What's your take on the Supreme Court's reasoning in dismissing Tonye Cole's appeal?
The view that Tonye Cole did not actually prove his case, or does not have sufficient evidence to prove his claim. Under the law, he that has sat must prove. It is not a court that will help you to prove your case. So he was of the view that the current governor of Fubara did not officially resign his appointment before he went on contest for the position, which under the law, as a civil servant, you are expected to resign your appointment by the Electoral Act before you can take on the leadership or candidacy of a political party in order to contest for elections. So that allegation was raised as part of the grounds upon which Tonye Cole said that Fubara was not validly elected, meaning that he was not qualified in issue to have contested that election, given that he did not resign his appointment. Now, when you bring such allegation before the court, it is quite plausible, but much more than that assertion, you have to prove beyond doubt, but you have to prove with sufficient evidence that the said party actually did not, as a matter of fact, with material evidence, that he did not resign his appointment before that happened. And in the case under reference, the court have said that the evidence adduced so far was not sufficient to ground that claim, meaning that Tonye Cole of the PDP, of the APC rather, did not prove or not have sufficient evidence to prove the case. So there's no way the court can go beyond that. And that is why that particular appeal was dismissed.
It's about evidence, and we've seen this again. We saw this in the Supreme Court's judgment regarding the appeals for the presidential election petitions. What sort of evidence does the court, the tribunal, the Court of Appeals, Supreme Court, all these appellate courts and the Court of First Instance, what sort of evidence do they need?
The kind of evidence they need is that if you say you have been signing documents, even when he was contesting the election, he was still in the government, you have to prove it by at least show that he was still earning salary, show that there are memos and documents that he acted upon, which, by their dates and when they were initiated, it will show that as at the time those memos were initiated, he was, campaigning, and he was about to contest election, or he had contested election, and even after he contested election, he was still in governance. So you ought to have, assemble all those documents to show. Okay, but if what you have is a mere allegation that is not grounded by one particular material evidence. Now, if you were informed, if you were told that he was still in government while he was doing all that, and you come to court to tell the court that you were told that he did not resign his appointment, you cannot succeed with such evidence, because what you'll be doing is you will be presenting an evidence that is hearsay. Okay, so your evidence must be material, must be one that addresses the issue, must be one that is cogent, must be one that have unequivocation. So in the absence of that, you cannot have that claim. There is no particular kind of evidence the court must see, other than the evidence you present must be believable, must be overwhelming, must be compelling, must be unequivocal. So if what you have as your major evidence in the case under reference does not meet that standard, the court cannot bridge the gap for you or step in to amend it for you to make it an evidence that should ground your claim. So he didn't prove his case, and no one else except the party who is in litigation can prove his case. And that is exactly what this is dispassionate. It has nothing to do with settlements or whatsoever.
All right. Ivan, what then can we say? Is it that now, you can do whatever you want to do? You can flout the electoral law, flout the Constitution, and with the knowledge that there's no evidence or not sufficient evidence, and get away with it because no one can gather sufficient evidence against you, even if, I'm not saying that it's true, but even if you actually went ahead to break the law.
No, that is not what the law says. Or that, you see, in good faith, a case is proven on the basis of evidence. So this judgment by the Supreme Court is not a license or a guarantee for anyone to go out there and break the law and then stand on the tripod that there are no evidence. Okay? Of course, if you break the law, contravene the law, there must be traces, there must be evidence to that effect. Okay? But in the case under reference, what politicians do is to assemble as much infraction as possible. So, contest or litigate their cases. Okay? So where the evidence you have assembled, which you believe would give you victory, did not do that, it does not mean that the court was unfair or that people should go about breaking the law just so that there will be no evidence.
But if I break the law and I know that you don't have what the court may deem as sufficient evidence, and I say, okay, go to court. maybe that's a license for people to keep breaking the law. Because all I need to do is to make sure I cover my tracks, make sure I position myself correctly to be able to take advantage of the technicalities and the precedent that has been set by the Supreme Court.
This actually has nothing to do with technicalities. This is clearly on the fact that the evidence he brought before the court did not meet the standard, meaning that it is not believable. You see, we should know that a case is for both sides. Okay, a case is for for both parties. The court have to be fair to both parties. If the evidence you bring is not sufficient, you don't expect the court to give you victory. What the court expected you to do is to prove your case unequivocally, to prove your case. So the court is not empowering citizens to go break the law and then ask the adverse party to go to court just because they will not get sufficient evidence to now litigate. That's not the idea, and that's not the rule of law. Okay? In as much as that's not the idea and that's not the rule of law, it does not also change the fact that a party who allege must prove. Okay? That is the evidence, that's the rules of evidence. That it is not enough to say someone, was still in active service as at the time he contested election. It's not enough to say so. Okay? It's not enough to say that a huge chunk of my votes was taken away and given to the other party, as was alleged by Peter Obi. It's not enough to do that. It is enough when you say that your votes were taken away from you and given to another party, and you're able to say how many states it occurred, how many local governments it occurred, how many wards, okay, and how many polling units in the entire federation that were affected. And then you're able to also prove further by bringing witnesses from all these polling units and local governments and wards to, corroborate the allegations you have made or the assertions you have made before the court. And where the evidence of these persons, oral evidence of these parties are persuasive and convincing, and they are overwhelming and they leave no doubt, the court is not in the place of the court to skip that. It is for the court to use it to make pronouncement, to say that given the evidence adduced so far by parties, the court believes that, you understand, the court will go further. The court will have to be watertight. Otherwise, if we actually allow the court to go the way Nigerians want it to go, we will have desecrated democracy completely. I am telling you that no matter the criticism that is out there, it is still because of the court that you still have democracy in Nigeria. Without the court, you will have nothing to even discuss on a program like this on politics headquarters. Okay, because you will not have even what to talk about. So the rules of court must be preserved, and it sends a signal to would-be candidates who want to litigate in election matters to not just make assertions on the basis of hearsay, but that the assertions must be proven and grounded, and their claims must be that which is backed up by evidence that is material, that can be visibly inferred from documents that the assertions are true and correct. Because tomorrow it might be the other side, okay? It might be, someone else alleging that Tonye Cole, for example, did not resign maybe his appointment from whatever he is or was, and he contested election and won as a governor. So it might go the other way around. So the law is for both the winner and the loser. Okay, we will not say because a party has lost, then the court have to, the rules of court or the law must be bent so much so that it will help to bail him out of the position where he is. No, that is not it. If we continue to bend the law to accommodate those who have lost, who could not prove their case and the rest of it, at the end of the day, we will not have any laws to fall back on. So the law have to be abreast. The rules and application of facts to the law have to be, the way it is. And pronouncement of court must be without fear and favor.
Quite interesting. Ivan Sofeli, of course, each case is an opportunity to learn and to remind ourselves of the important aspects of our law. You talked about the Evidence Act. I wish you had more time to go into all of this. But Evans, I want to thank you so very kindly for joining us tonight on Politics HQ, and we look forward to having you again. Take a break. When we come back, we look at the latest as far as the Edo State governorship primaries are concerned. Particularly, we'll talk about the All Progressives Congress. Please stay with us. We're back for our second conversation tonight ahead of the 21st September 2024 Edo State governorship election. The political parties who intend to field candidates have almost concluded their processes for the primary elections to choose their flag bearers. And this is in line with the timetable set by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. However, all isn't going as smoothly as possible with the processes of the All Progressives Congress, the opposition party in Edo State. Any surprises there? Well, with the January 29 deadline for the sale of forms by the party fast approaching, a special committee was set up by the leadership of the All Progressives Congress in Edo State to reduce the number of governorship aspirants, 29, who've been angling to pick the party's ticket. And this committee is headed by Majority Leader of the House of Representatives, Honorable Julius Ihobere, and it approved 6 aspirants for the February 17 APC governorship primary in Edo State. The aspirants include Dr. Ernest Afolabi Umakihe, he is from Owan East Local Government Area, Prince Clem Agba from Esako East Local Government Area, Lucky Masuen from Ovia Northeast Local Government Area, Dennis Idahosa from Ovia Southwest Local Government Area, David Imuse from Eson West Local Government Area, and Senator Monday Okpebolo, he's from Eson Central Local Government Area. Now, this list, of course, has some notable names missing, some of them who, have defied the state leadership of the party and have picked up nomination and expression of interest forms regardless of the directives from the party. Now, they include the APC candidate in the 2020 Edo State governorship election, Osage Izeyamu. Remember his name. They also include General Charles Bere, that's a mouthful there. He's in the South-South Zonal Secretary of the All Progressives Congress, Blessing Agbomere, among others. Well, last week, Adams Oshomole, former governor of Edo State and current senator for Edo North, disclosed that there were ongoing efforts by the party to trim down the number of aspirants seeking to become the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress in Edo State. So you now know where this is coming from. By the way, those forms cost 50 million naira each. Now you do the math. Tonight, joining us to discuss this, we have Monday Mawa. He's a legal practitioner. He joins us from Abuja via video link. Monday Mawa, it's good to have you on the program tonight.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Some are accusing Adams Oshomole of attempting to, install his anointed candidate. Looking at the facts of the matter and what's been happening, do you find any truth to this?
Well, to be sincere with you, politicians are a group of people that you find it difficult to actually please. And I need politicians, I call politicians, I call politicians about the professional issues. Again, like to tell people, there are 2 types of politicians. There are the group as the professionals, the other one we group as the professionals in politics. And so this group of professional politics, we get right to them. They don't have any other job other than politics. So they see it as, so they do everything possible to get it. And when they cannot get it, then whoever is in charge is wrong, is bad. And then they ascribe all sorts of names to the person involved. Now, quickly, the Adams Oshomole that they like some of them, though he that he has issue with His Excellency Senator Adams Aliu Oshomole, who today is the leader of AP State. Not just about a governor. He won an election to represent the people of Edo North at the right time. We already representing the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So, knows the party needs the moment. And so, those that is not going to give them the ticket on the platter of food and not shouting far around. So it's not. Is there a government? Is there in 2017? I'm not so 2016 or so under the platform of PD. I mean, you can look at it by yourself, and then so whenever they get it, the system is good. Whoever is in charge of it is good. But when on the other way around, the system is bad, it's bad. I think that is common with nations and our rights with respect to what's happening in those.
All right, interesting. Monday Mawa, the party has since said that they're not limiting the number of candidates or aspirants, rather, that everyone who has an aspiration is free to purchase the expression of interest and nomination forms. What do you think is at play here? Because Adams Oshomole met with the National Working Committee. There was a stakeholder meeting, and when he came out of that meeting was when he made that statement last week, saying that they were going to prune down the number of aspirants. So what's going on here? Seems to be some sort of confusion between the leadership of the party in the state. Of course, Oshomole is the leader of the APC in Edo State, and what the party is saying from Abuja.
Now, to be sincere with you, not the corner of house of the house. Oshomole is from Edo State. They are not just from the two governors of now everything in the end that everyone.
All right, we have a bit of a connection difficulty there with Monday Ma. We'll try to reestablish contact with him. Let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we hope to have him back. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Of course, still looking at the Edo State APC governorship election primary and the processes leading up to that. The aspirants have till January 29. Today happens to be just a few days before January 29, 4 days in particular. So let's see what happens. The party says we're going to screen, we've screened the aspirants for that primary, and we've selected 6 persons. And later, some of those people who were not selected said, hey, we're going to go pick the forms anyway. After all, the party's secretaries in Abuja, and they picked those forms up, defying the wishes of the leadership of the party in the state. And of course, APC National has had to backtrack and say, hey, hold on a minute, everyone is now allowed to come pick forms. 29 of them, you do the math, 50 million per form, you can tell how much each aspirant has to pay. A legal practitioner, Monday Mawa, is still with us. Monday, thanks for staying with us. So you were sharing your thoughts, and I asked you, if you thought, what was at play as far as the party at the center and the state are concerned. Billy couldn't hear you well because of the connection. Now, I was saying that Oshomole went into a meeting with the National Working Committee, came out and said, we've decided to prune down the number of candidates, 29. We're going to pick a few of them. So what do you think is the problem? Is it that the National, started an agreement initially, or what? What do you think is at play here?
The point I was trying to make earlier then was that I said Oshomole is a 2-time governor from Edo State. and a current service senator, and by extension, a leader of that party in Edo State. And I said, it's not as if I'm trying to hold brief for Oshomole, but I can say this categorically that Oshomole knows the peculiarity of Edo State more than any members of the National Working Committee of the All Progressive Congress, including the president, with the greatest respect to him. So I think what the gentleman was actually trying to do was to see that they prone these 29 numbers of aspirants to reduce it. Though they did say that the more the merrier, but I'm sure this is not one of those instances that will say the more the merrier, because the more the numbers of aspirants in a political play, the more the problem that the party is expected to face ahead. Now, some of them criticized Oshomole today, including the like of Pastor Osaige Zeyamu. Osaige Zeyamu was given ticket under the platform of PDP, I think in 2016. He lost to the incumbent governor of Edo State, His Excellency Obaseki. Then he jumped to APC. And then the same Oshomole gave him ticket, supported him with everything against the incumbent governor, who was running for the second term then. That was in 2020. Unfortunately, he lost out. Now, these are the same group of people now that are calling for the head of Oshomole. But of course, like I said, it is typical of an average politician. When the game favors them, whoever is in charge is a saint, is an angel, is God's saint. Unfortunately, when it does not go their way, then the system is bad. Whoever is in charge of that system is bad as well. Now, let's also look at it critically, Kofi. I am from Edo State. I think I should make that point clear at this point. Now, Nigerian constitution is governed by the principle of what we call justice, equity, and fair play. In Edo State, we have 3 senatorial districts. We have the Edo South, we have the Edo North, and the Edo Central. Now, among these 3 senatorial districts, Oshomole hail from Edo North, and he has done 8 good terms, and they handed over to Edo South, which the current governor Obaseki is from. Now, Obaseki has done 1st term and is in the 2nd term now, which he will be concluding any moment in this thing from now. Now, the life of Izeyam is from Edo South, the same place with Obaseki. The life of some of them also, like Danko, this member of House of Rep, is also from Edo North, where Oshomole is from. And also, let me quickly add that the current deputy governor of Edo State is from Edo North as well. Now, you are now also saying you should now zone the same governorship to Edo North or to Edo South. The question then is, where will be the equity? Where will be the fair play? Where will be the justice? What happened to Edo Central? Which, like, for instance, the PDP as it stands, the PDP appear to have zoned their own to Edo South, Edo Central rather. That is where we have this man, Aswe Godalo. He's from Edo Central.
Well, but that's what the governor is saying. But the likes of Philip Shabu have picked forms.
Well, that is what I'm telling you. And I can assure you, by God's grace, the like of Oshomole, Philip Shabu is somebody I hold in high esteem. He knows me. But I want to state this today, that Philip Shabu should know better than what he's doing at the moment. Because, yes, he has right to pick form. He has right to aspire for any political office of his choice. However, there is one thing he normally preach. Even while we were in school, he was one of my mentors in school, in us. That is equity. And what is equity? If his zone of Edo State has used 8 years as governor, and he has served another, almost going to the 8 years now as deputy governor, and he still want to run. Kofi, you look at it now. Even in Nigeria, we have the South and the North. The South started by Obasanjo in 1999. When Obasanjo was leaving, he handed over to the North, to Yar'Adua. When Yar'Adua was almost done with his tenure, he handed over to the South, which we now have Jonathan.
All right.
Then
All
from
right.
there,
So Monday, sorry to interject here, but since you're talking about APC, what are your thoughts on the 6-person screen by the Home Bearer Committee, GWC Home Bearer Committee, because if I'm not mistaken, I mean, there are 2 each from the 3 central districts in Edo State, North, Central, and South.
Yes.
I'm seeing, if I'm not mistaken, those from ESA West local government, the ESA Central, are those from the Central. Am I correct?
Yeah, those Central. We call them the ESA and those Central.
Yes, I'm good. Okay. So it seems the APC, if you're talking about Ize-Iyamu, it may not be his fault, because even the committee set up by the leadership of the party in the state has selected, candidates, 6 of them representing all the senatorial zones. So it means they're, in other words, their body language is we're throwing it open, we're not zoning it to any part of the state. So can we blame Ize-Iyamu and others?
I'm not particularly against Ize-Iyamu as a person, but the reason I use Ize-Iyamu as a case study was just to illustrate the point that he had already had opportunity to shoot at the governorship seat twice, both one at the, under PDP and then the other APC. But the point I was trying to make is this: Oshomole, Senator Oshomole himself, I'm not from his body language. I know that he himself is aware that if the governorship candidate is zoned to any other place now other than the Edo Central, it will be difficult for the APC to emerge victorious come September gubernatorial election. He's trying to do. Look at the 2 candidates he picked from Edo South. We have Honorable Dennis. Then we have Honorable Imaswe, a former governor in Edo State under Lokim. Now, you now come to Edo South, Edo Central, you have Okpebolo, then you have their former state chairman, Mr. Captain Imose. Then to the Edo North, he picked 2. But let me say this tonight, Oshomole, for who I know, and his sense of justice and fair play, I know Oshomole body language is tilted towards Edo Central, and which is the right thing to be done at the moment. So I'm not particularly about Ize-Iyamu, but the empathy about Ize-Iyamu is because the way some of his followers, some of his supporters have been criticizing, have been critical about Oshomole. You begin to ask yourself, is it not the same man that gave him that same ticket in 2020? Because they are demonizing him now at the moment because they feel he's supposed to have given the ticket to him. All right. Without the consideration of any other person.
Right. So Moneybawa, what do you foresee playing out at the APC primary, which holds on the in the matter of February 17, with 29 persons now picking phones in it? Whenever can tell, it may rise to more than 29. The deadline is in 4 days' time. What do you foresee playing out? Because it's a high number, some will say. At least that's what Oshomole thinks.
Kofi, is going to be a political war. I'm saying this, it's going to be a political war play. Because now, if you look at the various political actors that have presented themselves, they are eminently qualified. I must say that quickly. Is it Ize-Iyamu that you want to talk about? Is it Honorable Dennis? Is it Imaswe? Is it... Now, let's even go to Edo Central. Is it Senator Monday Okpebolo? Is it... what is this other man called in Ikeni? Is it Professor Osareme Osumbo, who was a one-time governor of Edo State for a period of time before the tribunal sacked him and brought in Adams Ali Oshomole? So the point is that they are all eminently qualified. The point, what Oshomole was trying to do was to see how they could reduce the number, to reduce the conflict that will eventually come out of that primary so that they'll be able to manage it. But with the number of 29 going straight into the Bemudia Stadium for the primary, Kofi, I can assure you, APC in Edo State might explode after that primary. I can assure you this. If the national leadership of APC refuses to manage this number, this number is too much for crying out loud. It's too much. 29. How do you manage them? And we have to pick one candidate from this 29. What happened to the other ones, Kofi? And trust politicians. If the House, if they cannot become a captain of the ship, they will rather sink the ship.
Well, Well, the party is richer, 1,450 million naira for just the selling sale of the form. That's some good money right there. How did the relationship, just finally...
I'm sorry, Kofi, let me quickly add this. Yeah. That was what Adam Shomole was also trying, to my mind, trying to manage. Okay. Why will you now collect money of all of this person when you know only one person will emerge? I mean, let's be sincere to ourselves. 29? Is it not just only one seat in Osadebe Avenue? I mean, he was trying to narrow this person so that you don't waste your money. And that was why I told them, people should not go and pick form first until after this Iyobere screening. But of course, some of them who felt that they were not going to be the candidate took up to the media, contrary to their initial gentleman agreement to make the whole thing cool as possible.
Do you foresee those who were not selected by this Iyobere committee losing out at the primary? Or do you think that with popularity of the likes of Godwin, Yamo and Co, that they can pull their weight? Just finally, very briefly, please.
Well, I cannot tell at the moment, to be sincere with you. But if Oshomole is backing any of those 6 candidates, don't forget, Oshomole he was one time national chairman of the APC. It's not a young person. It's no longer a small boy in the game. And if Oshomole is backing any person, I can assure you the person will clear the ticket.
All right.
That is what I can say.
All right. Monday, Bawa, we hope for the best. We'll be there to report whatever happens, if the party explodes or not, on February 17. We'll be there. But I want to thank you, Monday, for giving us a sterling analysis of the situation in the APC at those statements. Some other time we'll look at the PDP. But thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thank you very much.
And that's the size of our package right here on Politics HQ for this week. It's been a drama-filled week. Nigeria politics is a gift that keeps giving. We'll be there for it. We'll always be here for it. Join us next week on this program. On behalf of the entire team who's worked so tirelessly to put this together, my name is Kofi Bartels. Have a good weekend. Good night.